Westuha, min Freon, and welcome to another video. I'm more and more amazed by the fact that people are so craving audio-visual entertainment more and more, and they're actually forgetting about a simple act of reading, and that it is the most beautiful way of absorbing, of consuming art. But it is, of course, understandable. It's quicker, it's flashy, it's action-packed, and you don't have to think as much. You don't have to use your own imagination. You don't have to visualize all the beautiful things that the authors were writing about, because it is all served on a silver plate in front of your noses. However, this is why there are more and more theories arising around the Rings of Power, and also because there have not been much information released, official information by Amazon. That's why, and sites like cbr.com are trying to get more and more readers, so they are writing articles like, who could appear in the Rings of Power? And you can be goddamn sure that people are going to read that, and especially those who care about the TV show. Myself, if you have been following my channel for quite some time, and feel free to check out my videos if you haven't done so, I have described in detail why the Rings of Power will fail miserably as far as honoring Tolkien and sticking to the source material. But let us first, before we get into the article, summarize the most important and the most striking facts, the most striking reasons why the Rings of Power will most certainly fail in this way, in this area. First and foremost, we live in 2022, right? The TV show started to be shot, I think, when was it? 2020, 2021? It was recently. And today's entertainment, audiovisual entertainment mainly, is not revolved around good storytelling and appealing characters and sticking to the good old traditional material. No, they have quota in Hollywood. They have to include as many, they call marginalized group, as possible in their TV shows. It doesn't matter if they don't fit there. It doesn't matter if it sticks to the source material. It doesn't matter if it's historically accurate. It doesn't matter if it's accurate as far as the book that it was based on. No, they have to use that. So that's why they need to break the canon, right? Oh yes, Amazon said a couple of months ago that they have to stick to the canon, but since then they've already released official statements and official information that they're going to have African hobbits, that Isildur is going to have a sister, that one of the Númenórean kings is not actually going to be a king, but only, I don't even remember. It's all convoluted. It's all messed up as far as Amazon goes. But he's not going to marry his cousin, but the cousin's going to be the queen. I don't even remember, but I made a video about that. So already there have been several news confirming that they are going to break the canon. So they cannot absolutely honor the memory and the work of Tolkien. Absolutely not. So, but let us consider that they will stick to the information they've released, that they will, that the show will be set in the Second Age of Middle-earth, although the first official picture shows the two trees of Valinor, which don't exist anymore in the Second Age because they had been destroyed. So once again, what should we think about that? But the article, this one, goes, familiar Lord of the Rings characters who could appear in the Rings of Power. Alright, let's get through this. There are plenty of Lord of the Rings characters who could appear in Amazon's The Rings of Power, so here are some of the most likely candidates. Fans have anticipated Amazon's Lord of the Rings series for years, but the project has been kept tightly under wraps until now. Amazon just released a teaser for its highly anticipated Prime Video series that will be called The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. In a statement accompanying the title announcement, showrunners G.D. Payne and Patrick McKay confirmed the series timeframe and story arc, which will unite the major stories of Middle-earth's Second Age: the forging of the rings, the rise of the Dark Lord Sauron, the epic tale of Númenor, and the last alliance of elves and men. So already, for those of you who are acquainted with the works of Tolkien, and even for those who've bloody seen only Peter Jackson's trilogy, we should know that. So who could appear in the Rings of Power according to this annotation, to this description? Well, there has to be Sauron, right? Because it says here, but it is concerning the forging of the rings. So the original ring bearers will be in the show, according to this, those who received the rings from Sauron. So Galadriel, Círdan, and Gil-galad for the elves, right? And all the Nazgûl, or the Númenórean kings who received the 9 rings, such as the Witch King of Angmar. So there we go. These, at the very least, these elves and the Nazgûl and the original 7 dwarves, right? Who got the dwarven rings. That's a lot to unpack and a lot of territory to cover, so it's likely that the series will use a number of characters from Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy to ease fans into the new series. And given that possibility, here are some of the characters that will likely appear in the Rings of Power. Sauron was the big bad in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and given the series time frame, it's all but confirmed that he will once again be the primary antagonist in the Rings of Power. Obviously, he must be. It's only, come on. The thing is, this time he won't be a vile spirit hovering over Mordor. No, but I think that the depiction that could potentially be included in a very good adaptation, not this one, in a good adaptation, a potential, clearly theoretical adaptation, could be much more interesting, because we would see the true face of Sauron and his deceptive side, and how he was able to lure all the initial ring bearers into believing him, seducing them, his shaping his form. That would be fascinating if somebody was actually able to make it right. During the Second Age, Sauron was busy making good for his evil actions as Morgoth's top lieutenant. But during the Second Age, Morgoth's already gone. He's been defeated and out of the picture. So, in the guise of Anatar, he will likely be busy charming the Númenóreans while plotting to subdue all life in Middle-earth, as I said. While Sauron will be the main villain, he has to find people to corrupt with his ring of power. And there are 2 specific targets that could show up. The first were the Nazgûl, of course. They didn't appear until halfway through the Second Age, so they will likely still be human when the series begins. Of course, when they received the rings, they were still human. Thus, fans might finally learn what kings of men lie shrouded under the Morgul cloaks. The second possibility is a character called the Mouth of Sauron. Well, yeah, that's a very interesting and nice theory, yes. He was a Sauron's messenger and a sorcerer in The Return of the King, but only made it into the film's extended edition. Yes, and he was, just like in one mention in the book. In The Return of the King. Before being Sauron's lieutenant, though, the Mouth of Sauron was a black Númenórean. That means that he was evil, right? He didn't have black skin, of course, for those of you who are not bright enough to realize this. A great man who worshipped and served Sauron in the Second Age. In J.R. Tolkien's lore, elves are basically immortal, so many of the elves that appeared in The Lord of the Rings will also be candidates to appear in the Rings of Power. The most likely elf to appear is Galadriel, of course, along with her husband Celeborn, of course. Galadriel was born in Valinor during the First Age, and as the daughter of the Finnar... Why the Finarfin? It's a name. There should not be the definite article. She was descended from Elvish royalty. She will also become the recipient of the Ring Nenya. Similar to Galadriel, Elrond, half-elf, will likely show up at some point. Well, he could, yeah. In The Lord of the Rings, he was the Lord of Rivendell, but during the Second Age, he was the Herald of Gil-galad, the last High King. Learn how to write cbr.com, please, and then publish your bloody articles. When Gil-galad died, the ring Vilya passed to Elrond. Legolas could also make an appearance, but given the confusion about his age, it's not likely as some of the other elves. Well, he was about, 2,719 or 913 or something in The Lord of the Rings? I don't know. Yeah, he might appear to please the fans, but I don't see why. What purpose he would serve? It would be the same as in The Hobbit. Like there is no place for Legolas in this. The Rings of Power will likely feature events on the island of Numenor. Given the short lifespan of men, though, it's hard to foresee any men from the Lord of the Rings appearing in the Rings of Power. However, there are two possibilities that come with a caveat. Right, King Elendil and his son Isildur, well, they could appear, at some point, but they aren't born until 3,000 years into the Second Age. Well, given the fact that they released a picture showing the trees of Valinor, I suppose it's going to be all confused, all convoluted, all messed up. So, why not? At this point, I'm expecting bloody Master Yoda to appear in the series. The series will eventually show the War of the Last Alliance, in which Elendil and his son Isildur fight. But that war is what ended the Second Age. That means they probably won't be able to appear until future seasons of the series. Alright, who cares? Who bloody cares? Yes, I know, a lot of people care. Yeah. And for those of you who will write comments under this video like, if you don't care, why do you make these kind of videos? Because it's fun. It's fun to make fun of Amazon. And it gets them clicks, mofos. Alright, so let me know in the comments down below what you think about all this. I'm very much interested in that. And that'll be all. Thank you very much for watching. And namaste.